So I wanted to cover the skills that we have gone over with Mr. Morris. So you've got one spot that you can review and can continue to work with the little cutie here. So the first exercise that we go over is relax on a mat. And what we're looking for, Mr. Morris, is that he comes on over to the mat and gives us a nice relaxed body posture, so a DOWN, and then rests his little chin down on the mat. Very good. A little brief dip there. So what we're looking for from this is for him to go into such a relaxed body posture that it's sending a signal to his brain that everything is a-okay, that we can relax regardless of whatever's happening around us. So I've had folks use this for plane rides, dog-friendly hotels, and anything that your dog will run into in the future that might get him perfect concerned or stressed out. This is going to be your go-to move. You'll just break out the mat. It can be any towel. It's a command-free exercise, so we don't say anything. As soon as Mr. Morris comes on over to the towel, then he can get some treats, and then it's for going into this DOWN here, and then again resting his little chin down. If it's something that he sees visually, then you could simply do this exercise from a distance that he can remain in his DOWN and stay comfortable with. So sometimes I'll leash him up and kind of gauge that, see exactly how close we can get, and then just get closer and closer over time. And if it's a sound, then you can simply Google that sound and then ratchet it up over time, really super quiet, and then on the lowest setting, and then go up, 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 so he gets comfortable with that specific sound. So could be a visual, could be something that he hears, and both of which you've got a tool in your toolbox to work through this. And so he's just getting a treat at this point for being in his DOWN, and then good, resting his little chin down on the ground. And then lastly, I do like to avoid petting my dog and engaging with him because I want him to go internally as much as possible and do his own thing. I want him to be just concerned with himself more than anything else. And then one last piece is that I want to set the treats down on the mat here, and that'll help him to again focus on himself. And then if he for whatever reason was getting too excited about these treats and was trying to take them out of my hand, then you can simply tuck your hands into your lap, and that can help Mr. Morris to realize that's not how he's going to get the treats. And anyway, one other crucial piece, I've seen dogs that start crawling into folks' laps and trying to nibble on their hands, things like that. Just let him know that that's not how he's going to get anything. So we'll toss a little treat off the mat here. So next what we want to go over is our name game exercises. So I just want Mr. Morris to focus in and give me some good eye contact as soon as we say his name. So I'm going to say, Morris, drag a treat up towards my face. As soon as he makes eye contact, I'm going to click that moment. Then I'm going to do it without dragging treats up towards my face. I'm just going to say, Morris. Actually, perfect. And then if he's doing great, just keeps staring at you in the eye, you can feel free to drag some treats out to the side to make a little distraction for him. Morris, he's got to come back, even though he's really interested in the treats out here. He's got to be able to focus back in on you. Then lastly, I like to take some treats then, toss them on the ground. Morris, he's got to focus on me, even though he's interested in these treats over there. Morris, sit. Oh. Morris, down. Morris, stay. Good boy. So you'll notice with the sitting down, pretty self-explanatory. Click when the butt hits the floor for the sit. Click when the elbows hit the floor for the down. However, with his stay, you'll notice that I told him stay. He was in a standing posture. I just waited until he got down It's much easier when he's in a down or a sit to do a stay. So you can wait for either of those two. You could also request a down or a sit and then do a stay. And then I'm simply just taking a few steps back, kind of giving him, turning away a little bit and then returning to him. So a way to increase the difficulty is completely immediately turning on him is going to be harder, and just starting to do it from further distances and for longer periods of time. But I'd like to see you continue to say Morris, stay, and then return to him. And the reason that I like to return to dogs for at least, a month or so is because I want them to get used to not moving at all as soon as I tell them to stay. I want them to be like little statues. And so that's the way that we can encourage that, is simply by returning back to him so he doesn't move at all. As opposed to telling him to stay and then backing up and then calling him over to you. Then dogs, a lot of times I've noticed their stay starts to break down. They get used to just following after you. So you tell them stay and then you keep calling them. So as soon as you tell them stay, I'll walk away and I'll start trotting after. So one thing that I've seen other dogs do, so that's why I like to just have them in a stay for weeks at a time before they get really comfortable with when I tell them stay. You're just a little statue, don't move at all. Another piece is I notice a little bit of impulse control that we could work on with Mr. Morris, and so it's actually been really helpful for him to have him stay, to sit in a stay before we could go through doorways. It's basically his way of saying please, so I'd encourage you to continue to have him do a sit and a stay before moving into the next room. He won't be trying to burst by you, and it just gives him like that little break in between me just opting to do as I please. I always have to listen to mom or dad before I take off and do whatever it is that I want to do. So it gives him that little moment of, oh, I need to think about what I'm doing. So sort of aside there. Morris, touch. So this is our targeting exercise. You can simply put your hand down and tell him to touch, touch. And what we're looking for is for him to bump our hand with his nose. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. So we want to be able to get him to where we can physically move him around without having to, push him around. We just want him to move him around, say, hey, this is exactly where I want you. He does it on his own accord. I've utilized it for loose leash walking. I'll put my hand down by my side and I'll come up and bump my hand. So I just get him positioned exactly where I need him to be. It's also a great attention getting mechanism. So for those reasons, that's a really great skill to have in your toolbox. It's also the beginning of agility training, so getting dogs to up ramps and inside-outside poles. The precursor to that is simply getting them to follow a target, and that's what we're doing with this exercise. So next I want to go over our lead it, lead it. So you'll notice a pretty definitive pullback on that one. I think he thought I dropped a treat and got a little excited on that one. We'll give that another shot. And we'll try to shoot this one from the side so you can really see exactly what we're looking for. We tell them leave it one time, and then we're looking for a fairly definitive pullback. Morris, okay, leave it, good. So just like that, when he pulls back, that's the clickable moment, and exactly what he's done, what we're looking for. So next what we want to go over is our space exercise. This is our anti-jumping exercise, and what we're looking for is about a 2-foot bubble around us, and that he is completely stationary. So, Morris. Yeah, good boy. Space. Good job, perfect. So that was one from the front. We can try one from, right here. Good job. You did it. No, you did it. Yeah, no, you're perfect. Good work. Good. So I encourage you to try some from the front, some from the side, some from behind, and really make a 360 bubble around you. Morris, space. So I've noticed with a lot of my dogs, if I do space from behind, a lot of them do have a tendency to circle up in front and stop here. That's all well and good. I don't care as long as they give me the space. Some dogs will just stop dead in their tracks right behind you. Some will circle up. Most actually end up circling up in front. But as long as they give me that bubble, then that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. So another piece, space, good job, on our space exercises, we want to use it as a preventative measure. So if you can catch Mr. Morris before he has an opportunity to want to jump up, typically just first thing when you come in the door, that's when it's particularly useful. And you can also feel free to utilize space for yourself or space for someone else. So if he's going up to a guest, stranger, you can say space for them. Initially, not everybody's going to know that he's got this tool in his toolbox to give folks space. So that's perfect. We're going to sign off and then get Mr. Morris leashed up and go over the basics for his loose leash walking.